we once again turn our attention back to the battle between indigenous communities and corporations who want their land and want the resources and are willing to destroy it to get those resources. So we're going to turn our attention to this this proposed lithium mine. There's a battle. It's Thacker Pass lithium mine, rural Nevada, and there's a battle to prevent it from being built and dug and once again destroying indigenous lands. Joining us to talk about it is Max Wilbert. He's a community organizer and a writer. He's the author of the new book, Bright Green Lies, How the Environmental Movement Lost Its Way and What We Can Do About It. And he helped to launch the Thacker Pass camp, Protect Thacker Pass camp site that is being built now for people who are willing to resist and want to resist. Also joining us is Daranda Hinkey. She's a Fort McDermott Paiute Shoshone tribal member. She graduated with a Bachelor of Science at Southern Oregon University in 2020 and is currently a part of the People of Red Mountain group and this resistance. Welcome, both of you, to Flashpoints. Max, let me start with you. Could you just please give us a thumbnail sketch of exactly what's going on, who the corporation is, and what they're trying to do? Just set this up for us.
Sure, Dennis, and thank you for having us on. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
So the situation here is that because people are recognizing increasingly that fossil fuels are a major threat to our planet and our future, folks have been looking for an alternative for a long time. And one of those alternatives that is gaining a lot of momentum is electric cars powered by lithium-ion batteries. And almost all cars on the road today around the world are still powered by gas and diesel. But increasingly, we're seeing this move towards electric cars, and that means that the industry needs a lot more lithium. The International Energy Agency just put out a report saying that lithium extraction, lithium mining, will have to increase by 40 times within the next 19 years in order to meet the projected demand for electric cars. So Nevada is bearing the brunt of that. There are almost 8,000 lithium mining claims in the state of Nevada, and one of those projects, in fact, the mining project that's closest to moving forward, is here at Thacker Pass or Pahimaha in Paiute. And I'm sure Daranda can speak more from the indigenous perspective of what's at stake here and why this place is so important. But I came out here in January, after I learned what was at stake, some of what was at stake at this project. This is some of the best sage-grouse habitat left in the world. This iconic bird species that's declined by 99%. It's a pronghorn antelope migratory route. It's in the watershed of these streams that have threatened Lahontan cutthroat trout. It's an incredibly beautiful, wild place when you're here. And I don't think it's right to blow up a mountainside like this, whether you're blowing it up for coal or for lithium or for anything else.
And let me ask you to just say a little bit more about what you see as there's a huge corporate interest behind this, driving this. So it's like trying to stand in the way of a steamroller run by some of the wealthiest people in the world. It really is a David and Goliath situation. Say a little bit more about the level of corporate interest. There must be a lot of money around this, a lot of people being paid off, a lot of politicians being taken in.
Absolutely. Yeah, the governor of Nevada, the state senators, for the most part, they're totally on board with this type of project. And there is a lot of money to be made, billions of dollars here at Thacker Pass. And if you look at lithium mining and electric vehicles worldwide, there's trillions and trillions of dollars at stake. So Some people are calling this a new industrial revolution. The company that we're facing here, Lithium Americas, they raised $400 million in one day a few months ago.
$400 million in one day, you said? $400 million in one day?
Yep, to help support this project, exactly. But, you know, we're saying that we're not going to save the planet by blowing up mountains. It's just not the way it's going to work. And once, you know, not that long ago, the environmental movement understood that it wasn't about what's under the hood of your car. It was the car culture as a whole. You know, it was the fact that we have factories all around the world, mines all around the world, fracking, oil extraction. It's all part of an interlinked economic system that's destroying the planet. It's not just carbon. It's this entire economic system that we live in that's based on a brutal and ruthless extraction from our planet, the only planet known to support life. You know, so my friend always says, you have one living planet and you destroy it. That's simple math. It's 1 minus 1.
Okay, let's bring in Daranda Hinkey. Again, as we said, she's Fort McDermott, Paiute Shoshone tribal member. She graduated with a Bachelor of Science, Southern Oregon University in 2020, and is currently a part of the... Well, could you say the name of the tribe that you're a part of, please? Because I will destroy it.
Yeah, it's Ata Korakwa Wenua, and that is translated to People of Red Mountain.
People of Red Mountain. Well, welcome to you. We're glad that you could join us. Could you talk a little bit more about what it means to protect this sacred ground and you know, what will be lost if these corporate interests have their way and try and bulldoze their way into the future?
Absolutely. Yeah, I just want to thank you, first of all, for having me on here. And, you know, what's at stake is a lot. This lithium mine, its proposed lithium mine, is really close to the reservation. And not only Thacker Pass, but there's another lithium mine. And so what we see here is another gateway for this lithium mine. You know, if one goes through, the next one's going to go through, and there's so much lithium in this area. And so it's really threatening the culture and the language here. There's stories behind Pimaha, or better known as Thacker Pass. And, you know, being and reconnecting to these areas opened up a lot of, like, the elders' teachings and their stories of this place and other places around us. And it's threatening water. There could be drought, shortage of water, and then that ultimately hurts the plants and the animals and the medicines that we go and gather or hunt. And so it's a real big threat to the culture and to the people here.
It seems like just getting involved at this level, coming out of school, really deepens your commitment to defending the lands. And it seems like this is now sort of the natural evolution out of getting an education, understanding a little bit about how things work, and then using it to defend Indian lands and native lands. Is this important to you, and is this an important part of what you're doing now?
Yeah, it actually has been. The reason why I chose environmental science as a degree was because my dad, a long time ago, he told me that one day they're going to come for our resources, either water, land, something like that. And we need somebody that, you know, is knowledgeable or just basic understanding of these, you know, that study. And so that was why I actually chose that. And so now coming out of school and, you know, being involved with Pihimaha and Thacker Pass, it is really coming together almost like, oh, wow, that's why I did this. And I had to do a lot of teaching to, like, why, you know, mining is bad or what's going to be involved with water shortage and groundwater. So that was really helpful in teaching a lot of the people who didn't understand those things. And, yeah, we just see it really correlated right now.
If you had some time to sit down with the gung-ho governor of Nevada, what do you think you would want to say to him?
I think I would say to, at whatever cost, please at least halt this project until all lawsuits and hearings are gone through. But then I would also say, let's keep this place as a dark sky zone. If you've been up here, it is absolutely beautiful. There's no light pollution. I think it'd be a perfect place for that kind of recreation instead of maybe mining. Maybe keep it as a conservation area for preservation, some kind of historic site would be the best. And I would try to really push that to the governor.
Were you inspired by what happened at Standing Rock?
Yeah, we've had a few people from Standing Rock come and support us, stand with us in solidarity, also help us through some of the things that we are not used to. And not a lot of people have been in these kind of organizing positions or direct action. So that's been helpful, and people see this as the next Standing Rock. And I hope it really does get to that point where we get thousands of people out here and a lot of media and a lot of attention. And I think that's what this place needs. And on top of that, that's what lithium needs to be talked about more. And is it the right way to go? And like Max mentioned earlier. And so I hope we get people up here, absolutely.
And let me bring you back, Max Wilbert. What is the status now? I don't believe, have they started to dig yet? What are the latest facts? And how can people, if people are interested in learning more, how do they get involved?
Absolutely. So construction has not begun yet at Thacker Pass. There has been some exploration, some test drilling that took place years ago. So there are a few little access roads that have been cut through this beautiful old-growth sagebrush. I'm sure they have already bulldozed and disturbed some cultural sites because this is a really important place. The stories that I'm hearing from Daranda's family and grandmothers and other elders from the tribe. One elder called Thacker Pass our main pathway. It's a really important route going back thousands of years, and so I'm sure a lot of important sites have already been disturbed by the road building that has happened here. But for now, it's relatively intact. It's an incredibly beautiful place. The best available information we have right now is that Lithium Americas might start bulldozing this site and specifically targeting the cultural sites as soon as June 23rd. I believe that's 16
June 23rd. Wow.
Yeah.
So what's the plan? What's the are there local strategies? Are you calling for people to show up? You're building a resistance camp now, I guess maybe inspired by what happened at Standing Rock. I was there. They actually constructed sort of a mini city of resistance. I'm wondering where that process is now. Are you asking for people to help you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm sitting in the protection camp right now. And we need more people here in coming weeks and moving forward. We need people to come join us on site, whether they're able to join for a day or a week or longer. The bigger the crowd, the more strength we have here. We're also doing call-ins and remote action via phone. So check out Protect Thacker Pass on social media or the protectthackerpass.org website for phone numbers and scripts to put pressure on these public officials. I mean, Joe Biden put out a executive order soon after he took office saying that he was going to prioritize consultation with the tribes and really doing things in a more meaningful and serious way. This project was rushed through in less than 1 year during the height of the coronavirus pandemic. So many people did not have any chance to participate in the quote-unquote public comment period. There wasn't a meaningful public comment period for this project. Many of the tribes in the area who are connected to this place have not been consulted at all. So really trying to build a lot of pressure on the Biden administration, the Bureau of Land Management, and especially Secretary Deb Haaland, because she is a Laguna Pueblo, I believe, a Native woman. She might understand that this is a really important site culturally, and this can't be done like this. This is wrong, and frankly, it's illegal, which is why there are several lawsuits pending against this project. But I'm sure all your listeners know, and that the legal system in this country prioritizes profits and corporations. Typically, sometimes we can win in the courts, but oftentimes we can't, and that's why we're trying to get as many people out here on the ground to say, you will not destroy this place.
Daranda, I'm interested to hear, I wanted to ask you about the fact that there now is an indigenous, an indigenous person who is now very important in the cabinet, has a lot to say. I saw the secretary actually cooking in Standing Rock. So she is engaged in the community. I'm wondering how your pitch would differ to her, say, than it would to the governor that you just talked about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have written letters to Deb Haaland as well as trying to get her out here. I think that would be our main go-to, is to connect her with this land, connect her with the community and tribal voices, and hear the people speak the language, realize that this place is still very traditional and it's being threatened by these mines. And so I think we would come at a perspective of, you are a Native woman, you're an indigenous woman, so listen to this indigenous community that's asking for your help. Maybe get on a more down-to-earth kind of feel. And I think the biggest thing is getting her out there and connecting her with that land, because we've had a lot of people come out there, reconnect with it, and then bring up stories about, something that they did a long time ago, or, somebody got their first deer out there, and that's really important for our indigenous men, is their first deer, and that's kind of a special moment. But I think that was the pitch we would try to go for.
So would you like to invite her here now on the radio to come and join you all? And
yes, absolutely. We wish that Deb Haaland would come out to Thacker Pass, Pihimaha, and visit with the community, the tribal voices, and hear us out. And we would love you to take a visit.
Well, listening to Flashpoints on Pacifica Radio, and again, we're talking about an incredibly important environmental struggle that is now unfolding in rural Nevada. And it has everything to do with the struggle to maintain indigenous lands and sacred sites and land that the indigenous community has been fighting to hold on to in the middle of a multi-hundred-year genocide. And that this is part of that. I would say that when we think about the history here and the nature of U.S. genocide against Native Americans, this is just one more textbook case, and it would be nice if things were changed up a little bit and there was some support. Your final thoughts, Max Wilbert. What would you tell activists and folks about why you think this is an important place to draw the line and to stand for the people and for indigenous communities?
Well, the first thing I would say is that this is just the beginning. Like I mentioned, like Daranda mentioned, there are many, many other lithium mining claims around the state of Nevada. We're seeing that this new green energy push, I fought the fossil fuel industry for decades. I've stood on top of heavy equipment to block tar sands in Utah, and, stood in front of coal trains in Washington State. So I take fossil fuels very seriously, but we can't make the same mistakes that we've made in the past. We can't destroy the land in service of saving the climate. It's not right, and it won't work. And so what I want people to understand is that we're at this really critical moment right here with this mine. We need to draw the line and say this isn't right. And not only is it a critical moment, in that sort of bigger ethical sense of this shift in our culture, but in this campaign, in the fight to protect this particular place right here, this land, it's a critical moment. The next 2 weeks, the next 3 weeks are very important. And so if you're listening, if you're a lawyer, if you have political connections, if you just have a phone and can make calls, get in touch with us, reach out, follow us online, sign up for the newsletter, get on our social media, and, most importantly, try and get out here and just take some action. Take the next 3 weeks and work with us for this place. And I encourage people to visit and come up here, because once you're here, you can feel that sacred power of this place. I felt it before I even met Daranda and her family and knew that they call this place sacred as well. I felt it. I felt it from the land, and you'll feel it too. So come out here and fall in love with this place and fight to defend it.
Can I ask you to give the necessary information if people want to get in touch at various levels in various ways? Tell us again.
Yeah, go to protectthacker.org. That's Protect Thacker Pass, THACKER.
That's T as in Tom, H as in Herman, TH, yes.
Correct, yes. And you can find us on social media too. Thank you.
All right. Well, I thank the both of you for joining us, for taking the time out. We hope that you will keep us posted. We will watch this very closely, and I will make sure you both have my home number, and you can call me anytime. We're going to watch it closely. We're going to do our best to, maybe we're going to bring the Flashpoints team up there, and we'll broadcast a couple of days from the struggle. We've been at the border. We were at Standing Rock, and we will join you to cover this story and this struggle, because it's a big one, and it should not be forgotten or set aside. Thank you all for standing there, for setting up camp, and for keeping us posted.
Thank you very much, Dennis.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You are very, very welcome. Stay safe. You are listening to Flashpoints on Pacifica Radio.